We shall read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 3, Pure Devotional Service. Text 23. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Please repeat. Jivan, Chavo, Bhagavatangri, Renum, Na, Jatu, Martyo, Bilabeta, Yas, Tu, Shri, Vishnu, Padya, Manujas, Tulasya, Swasan, Chavo, Yas, Tu, Na, Veda, Gandham, Jivan Chavo Bhagavatangri Renum, Najatu Martyo Bilabeta Yastu, Shri Vishnu Padya Manujastu Lasya, Swasan Chavo Yastu Naveda Gandham, Jivan Chavo Bhagavatangri Renum, Najata Martyo Bilabeta Yastu, Shri Vishnu Padya Manujastu Lasya, Swasan Chavo Yastu Naveda Gandham, Anchavo Bhagavatangri Renum, Najatu Martyo Bilabeta Yastu, Shri Vishnu Padya Manujastu Lasya, Swasan Chavo Yastu Naveda Gandham, Chavo Bhagavatangri Renum, Najato Martyo Bilabeta Yastu, Vishnu Padya Manujastu Lasya, Swasan Chavo Yastu Naveda Gandham, Jivan Chavo Bhagavatangri Renum, Najatu Martyo Bilabeta Yastu, Shri Vishnu Padya Manujastu Lasya, Chavoyastu Navera Gandam. Ladies? Bhagavatam Girenum Tatu Martyo Bilabeta Yastu Vishnu Padya Manujastu Lasya Sasan Shavoyastu Naveda Gandam Ivan Chavo Bhagavatam Girenum Chatumartyo Vilabeta Yastu Vishnu Padya Manujastu Lasya Sasan Chavoyastu Naveda Gandam Jivan while living Shava a dead body Bhagavatam Girenum the dust of the feet of a pure devotee Na never Jatu at any time Martya mortal Abhilabheta particularly received Ya a person Tu but Shri with opulence Vishnu Padya the lotus feet of Vishnu Manuja a descendant of Manu a man Tulasya leaves of the tulsi tree Shvasan while breathing Shava still a dead body Ya who to but Naveda never experienced Gandham the aroma. Translation. The person who has not at any time received the dust of the feet of the Lord's pure devotee upon his head is certainly a dead body. And the person who has never experienced the aroma of the tulsi leaves from the lotus feet of the Lord is also a dead body, although breathing. So, my dear devotees, I will have to leave for 2 minutes, and I'll be right back. In the meantime, chant and be happy.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Satchinandana, Jai Satchinandana, Jai Satchinandana Gaurari, Jai Satchinandana Gaurari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hey, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
So again, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 3, Pure Devotional Service, Text 23. Please repeat. The person who has not at any time received the dust of the feet of the Lord's pure devotee upon his head is certainly a dead body. And the person who has never experienced the aroma of the tulsi leaves from the lotus feet of the Lord is also a dead body, although breathing. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the breathing dead body is a ghost. When a man dies, he is called dead. But when he again appears in a subtle form, not visible to our present vision, and yet acts, such a dead body is called a ghost. Ghosts are always very bad elements, always creating a fearful situation for others. So, how does one become a ghost? I'm not recommending it, I'm just discussing. One way is by committing suicide. When someone commits suicide, in effect he's saying he doesn't want a gross body. So he gets the body of a ghost. But generally, people commit suicide because they are frustrated in the fulfillment of their material desires. They're disappointed. So they still have material desires, but they don't have a body through which to fulfill their desires. And therefore they try to possess someone else's body to try to enjoy through their body. Some years ago there was a a movie called Ghosts, and His Holiness Bhakti True Swami Maharaj suggested that the writers of the script of the movie must have read Srila Prabhupada's books because they were able to depict the life of a ghost. There is one scene in the movie in which the ghost is on a railway platform and there's a vending machine and he wants to get cigarettes. But he couldn't because he was a ghost. But he was like banging on the vending machine trying to get some cigarettes out so he could smoke. So that's one way, by committing suicide. Another way is if one is very attached to one's palace or castle, and at the time of death, one thinks of one's palace or castle. So it's not possible to take birth as a building, because buildings are not one of the species of life. But one can take birth as a ghost in the castle. And therefore there are many castles and mansions and palaces that are haunted by ghosts. And often those properties are put up for sale at a reduced price because people don't want to buy a haunted house. And Srila Prabhupada said that we could buy these properties and use them to make a temple for Krishna, and then perform Harinam Sankirtan, and by the performance of Harinam Sankirtan, the ghosts will go away, and so we can get a good property at a lesser price. Similarly, the ghost-like non-devotees who have no respect for the pure devotees, nor for the Vishnu deity in the temple, create a fearful situation for the devotees at all times. The Lord never accepts any offering by such impure ghosts. In other words, the non-devotees are being compared with ghosts. There is a common saying that one should first love the dog of the beloved before one shows any loving sentiments for the beloved. Yeah, there's a saying, love me, love my dog. So there's a common saying that one should first love the dog of the beloved before one shows any sentiments for the beloved. So the comparison here is that the devotee is like the dog of the master, and the master is Krishna. And one can please Krishna by pleasing his devotee. One can approach Krishna by serving his devotee. The stage of pure devotion is attained by sincerely serving a pure devotee of the Lord. The first condition of devotional service to the Lord is therefore to be a servant of a pure devotee. And this condition is fulfilled by the statement, reception of the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee who has also served another pure devotee. That is the way of pure disciplic succession or devotional parampara. So the first step is to become a servant of a pure devotee, and no one can become a pure devotee unless he or she serves another pure devotee, who in turn has served another pure devotee. And as Srila Prabhupada says, this is the way of devotional parampara. So I serve my spiritual master, who's a pure devotee, who served his spiritual master, who's a pure devotee, who in turn served his spiritual master, who was a pure devotee. And in this way, one goes all the way back to Krishna. Krishna is the original spiritual master, and perfect knowledge comes from Krishna through disciplic succession, and service is offered to Krishna through disciplic succession. So disciplic succession is extremely important. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo vidu. That the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita was passed down through disciplic succession, parampara. And the Lord detected that the disciplic succession had become broken, and therefore he came and spoke the Bhagavad Gita again to start a new disciplic succession. Maharaj Rahugana inquired from the great saint Jad Bharat as to how he had attained such a liberated stage of a Paramahamsa. And in answer, the great saint replies as follows, Srimad Bhagavatam 5:12. Rahu ganaita tapasanayati nache jaya nirvapanad grihadva na chandasanai vajalagni suryayar vina mahatpadarajo bhishekam. O King Rahugana, the perfectional stage of devotional service, or the Paramahamsa stage of life, cannot be attained unless one is blessed by the dust of the feet of great devotees. It is never attained by tapasya, austerity, the Vedic worshipping process, acceptance of the renounced order of life, the discharge of the duties of household life, the chanting of the Vedic hymns, or the performance of penances in the hot sun, within cold water, or before the blazing fire. So, Vina Mahat Pada Rajo Abhishekam. Abhishek, you know the word Abhishek, to bathe. So, we are advised to bathe in the dust of the lotus feet of the pure devotee. And the dust of the lotus feet can be taken in a literal sense, but generally we take it to mean following the instructions, to follow the instructions of the pure devotee. And that is the way to make advancement. Yasya prasadat Bhagavat prasado, when the spiritual master is pleased, Krishna is pleased. When we get the mercy of the spiritual master, we get the mercy of Krishna. In other words, Lord Sri Krishna is the property of his pure, unconditional devotee, and as such, only the devotees can deliver Krishna to another devotee. Krishna is never obtainable directly. Once Srila Prabhupada illustrated this principle in a pastime with little Saraswati, the daughter of Shamsundar and Malati, when she was maybe 3 years old. Srila Prabhupada had been invited by the Chief Justice of the High Court of Madras to give a talk to a distinguished gathering of judges and lawyers. And during his talk, Srila Prabhupada spoke about the 6 Goswamis, how they had given up their respectable positions in society to join Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And in the same way, Srila Prabhupada was urging the distinguished guests, lawyers and judges, to also join the movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So after the program, Srila Prabhupada and his disciples were invited to the Chief Justice's residence, which was nearby. And the Chief Justice, Veera Swami, he gave Srila Prabhupada a silver figurine of Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada, to illustrate the point about separation, he held the statue in front of little Saraswati and said, "Who is this?" And Saraswati said, "Krishna." Then Srila Prabhupada moved his hand with the deity behind his back and hid the deity from sight. and asked little Saraswati, "Where is Krishna?" And Saraswati became very anxious because she couldn't see Krishna. And she was looking everywhere, looking at the devotees, but she could not find Krishna anywhere. And again, to keep her focused, Srila Prabhupada said, "Saraswati, where is Krishna?" And again, she became very anxious looking for Krishna, but she could not find him. Then one of the devotees said, "Saraswati, who has Krishna?" And immediately Saraswati's eyes opened wide and she lit up in recognition. And she said, "Prabhupada has Krishna." And then she went running up to Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada brought the Krishna out and showed him to her. So, Lord Sri Krishna is the property of his pure unconditional devotees, and as such only the devotees can deliver Krishna to another devotee. Krishna is never obtainable directly. Lord Chaitanya therefore designated himself as Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayur Dasa Dasa Anudasa, or the most obedient servant of the servants of the Lord, who maintains the Gopi damsels at Vrindavan. A pure devotee, therefore, never approaches the Lord directly, but tries to please the servant of the Lord's servants, and thus the Lord becomes pleased. Yasya prasada Bhagavat prasada. And only then can the devotee relish the taste of the tulsi leaves stuck to his lotus feet. In the Brahma Samhita it is said that the Lord is never to be found by becoming a great scholar of the Vedic literatures, but he is very easily approachable through his pure devotee. Yes, the Brahma Samhita says, Vedeshu Durlabha, Adurlabha Atma Bhakta. Vedeshu Durlabha means very difficult to approach or realize through the study of the Vedas. Vedeshu Durlabha, Adurlabha, but very easily approached, Atma Bhakta, through the Lord's devotees. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that the Lord is never to be found by becoming a great scholar of the Vedic literatures, but he is very easily approachable through his pure devotee. In Vrindavan, all the pure devotees pray for the mercy of Srimati Radharani, the pleasure potency of Lord Krishna. Srimati Radharani is a tender-hearted feminine counterpart of the Supreme Whole, resembling the perfectional stage of the worldly feminine nature. In the Nectar of Devotion, Srila Rupa Goswami discusses the qualities of Krishna, and one of his qualities is compassionate, And the Nectar of Devotion says that that Krishna's compassionate nature is represented by Srimati Radharani, and therefore we can take advantage of Krishna's compassionate nature by approaching Srimati Radharani. In Vrindavan, all the pure devotees pray for the mercy of Srimati Radharani, the pleasure potency of Lord Krishna. Srimati Radharani is a tender-hearted feminine counterpart of the Supreme Whole, resembling the perfectional stage of the worldly feminine nature. Therefore, the mercy of Radharani is available very readily to the sincere devotees. And once she recommends a devotee to Lord Krishna, the Lord at once accepts the devotee's admittance into his association. So in Varshana, Srimati Radharani's place, they have a saying, whatever Radha does, Krishna likes. And whatever Radha likes, Krishna does. So if Srimati Radharani likes that Krishna should accept a devotee, then Krishna will do it. Therefore, the mercy of Radharani is available very readily to the sincere devotees, and once she recommends such a devotee to Lord Krishna, the Lord at once accepts the devotee's admittance into his association. The conclusion is, therefore, that one should be more serious about seeking the mercy of the devotee than that of the Lord directly. And by one's doing so, by the good will of the devotee, the natural attraction for the service of the Lord will be revived. So, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema, Sadhya Kabunai, Krishna Prema, or pure love of Krishna, is eternally situated in the heart. It is not to be gained from another source, and that pure love for Krishna is awakened by the association of pure devotees, by hearing and chanting in the association of pure devotees. And thus Srila Prabhupada concludes, the conclusion is, therefore, that one should be more serious about seeking the mercy of the devotee than that of the Lord directly. And by one's doing so, by the goodwill of the devotee, the natural attraction for the service of the Lord will be revived. So we are all indebted to Srila Prabhupada for mercifully engaging us in devotional service, giving us his wonderful books, translations such as Srimad Bhagavatam, and engaging us in service that will be pleasing to the Lord and that will result in our receiving the Lord's mercy. And of course, the main practice, especially in Kali Yuga, is Harinam, Harinam, Harinam Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva, 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 Gatiranyata. One should chant the holy names, chant the holy names, chant the holy names of Lord Hari, Krishna. There is no other way, no other way, no other way for success in this age of Kali Yuga. In one talk in Los Angeles, Srila Prabhupada said, if you've got time, chant Hare Krishna. Don't speak nonsense. Chant Hare Krishna. So whenever we can, we should chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. So now, my dear devotees, if any of you have any questions or comments, any reflections, you can raise your hand.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Hare
Maharaj, you were mentioning that in the end, as per the purport, to approach Srimati Radharani. So my small question is that what it means to practically apply this principle in our lives, besides praying to Radharani in the temple hall, Srimati Radharani in temple hall, what else practically we can do to meet this end? Thank you.
Well, Srimati Radharani is pleased when we bring people to Krishna. In fact, in Vrindavan, she's always trying to make arrangements to bring people to Krishna. So when we bring people to Krishna by preaching, she's pleased and we can get her mercy. So yes, pray to her, of course, and at the same time try to please her by bringing more people to Krishna.
Could I ask one more question I had? Should I ask now or after? Maharaj, I read the first chapter of your wonderful book, I'll Build Your Temple. So, a couple of incidents I am reminded now seeing this purport and the theme of today's discussion. That one incident was when His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj requested you that you stay up whole night when the temple is rebuilt. And other few instances also where Maharaj, being your authority, Maharaj was asking, do this, do that. So then when I read that section, I thought, if my authority tells me that you stay up whole night, then I may lack respect for him. And today's theme also was that to please the servant of servants. So in these situations, how did you serve Maharaj and how did you see it? How should we follow? Thank you, Maharaj.
In these situations, how did I?
Maharaj, yourself, and stay put in your always respectful position towards seniors, authorities, and general Vaishnavas always.
Yes. I had great respect and affection for His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami. And Srila Prabhupada saw the two of us together. Towards the end of his life, he executed a power of attorney in favor of the two of us. And he often looked for confirmation from the two of us before he went ahead with some project or activity. I'm referring especially to the end. So yeah, I mean, that incident when we were rebuilding the temple, Satsvarupa, who was my first temple president in Boston, had recently passed through Juhu. And, you know, I was very attracted to him. I liked his humility. And somehow when Tamal Krishna Goswami asked me to stay up all night to make sure the temple got rebuilt, I mentioned Satsvarupa, how humble he was, and Tamal Krishna Goswami said, "Your humility will be shown by your staying up all night and making sure the temple gets rebuilt." And I thought about it, and I concluded that his statement was correct. I mean, if I'm really a humble servant of my Guru Maharaj, then I should be ready to do whatever is required for his service, even if it meant staying up all night and, you know, not being in a good position to attend the morning program the next morning. So, yeah, I had many wonderful experiences with His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami. He was also the GBC for Bombay for some time. Yes?
Hare Krishna Maharaj ji, please accept my humble obeisances Maharaj ji. Maharaj ji, I want to connect this, means I will build your temple and this Bhagavatam class lecture. The question is that Maharaj ji, because you have built this temple, so there is a lot of management, but sometimes it comes the situation that Maharaj ji, that we are sometimes lack in sadhana. So that situation occurs, then the mind is always tricking, means that it is always having a false ego arise, because we are loose in sadhana, so false ego arise, and the thing come that I am something very special. In Ramayana, King Bharat has shown the nice standard, means that he has taken the seva of the kingdom, but he didn't take any benefits, means that he was living in Nandigram and he didn't take any single benefit. I will stay as a Lord Rama itself. So how should we cannot copy that standard of King Bharat, but we want that till end of the life I should maintain my humility. As I will do management service, not an issue, but I want to maintain my humility till end of the life, and within core of my heart it should be maintained. So what shall I do for this thing? Although I am not the management, but sometimes we get the center seva or something like that, but false ego arise. So what shall I do for these things?
Why does false ego arise?
Because sadhana gets loose, so that's why the false ego arise.
Well, you should give priority to your sadhana. Srila Prabhupada said, first health, second sadhana, and third service. So you should maintain your sadhana so that you're in good consciousness and can execute your service as a humble servant and not be puffed up with false pride or false ego. It's very important to maintain your sadhana, especially careful, attentive japa. Cheto darpano marjanam, the chanting of the holy name clears all the dust from the mirror of the mind. And Srila Prabhupada said the first dirty thing is to identify with the body, which means false ego. So, yeah, you should maintain your sadhana and chant sincere, attentive rounds, and then you can be freed from false ego.
Yes. Yes, Maharaj, one more question is coming. Even though I have completed my all morning program, but that the false ego is very subtle, that it is not going. So this is the problem. So what shall I do? What shall I take this step now?
Well, you should think of yourself as the humble servant of the servants of Krishna. That's your actual identity. As Srila Prabhupada quoted Lord Chaitanya, Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayur Dasa Dasa Anudasa. So yeah, you should think of yourself as the servant of the servants. And if you're given some service, you should take it as mercy that a devotee is giving you some service, and you get to serve that devotee and Srila Prabhupada and the Parampara. And remain humble. Don't become puffed up.
Yes, thank you, Maharaj. I got my answer. Thank you.
And yes, over here.
Hare Krishna Maharaj ji. You said that if someone commits suicide, then he will become a ghost. Now there is a condition that if there are two persons and first person kills the second person, so is there any possibility that second person will become a ghost?
Wait, can you repeat that?
There is a condition, if there are two persons and first person kills the second person, so is there any possibility that second person will become a ghost?
It's not necessarily the case that if someone is murdered, that the person will become a ghost. He will become whatever his karma and his thoughts at the time of death determine for him. But yeah, he won't necessarily become a ghost. Yes?
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj, for the class. Wanted to ask about the role of blessings upon a devotee. Like when somebody renders some service, so he gets blessings of Vaishnavas and the spiritual master. But yet sometimes somebody works very hard and say his Guru and Vaishnavas are very pleased with the devotee, and thus he gets lot of blessings. But even after that happens, it is sometimes observed that a person goes away from Krishna consciousness. So how exactly blessings work in the life of a devotee?
Yes. As living entities, we always have minute independence. We have free will, and therefore we can always choose to leave Krishna. When Srila Prabhupada first appointed the GBC members. I thought that they were something special, which in a way they were. But then one of them fell down, and I thought, well, maybe it's just a fluke, maybe some unusual incident. But then another fell down. And so I asked Srila Prabhupada about it, and he replied that the living entity is always marginal. So whatever position he's in, he can use it either for serving Krishna or for personal sense gratification. So the spiritual master puts the disciple in the best position for service. But still, because the disciple has free will, he can always misuse that blessing and leave Krishna consciousness. So, but then if he comes back, the blessings will be there. He can take advantage of those blessings. Yeah. Good.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, thank you for sharing that incidence of Saraswati. Maharaj, my question is about this statement of Srila Prabhupada, that stage of pure devotional service can be attained by sincerely serving a pure devotee. So, what I want to understand is, Maharaj, our case is like, my case is like that Saraswati, where I want to know who is having Krishna. So, fortunately we have many devotees. At your times, it was like only Prabhupada, and of course many others also were there, but everyone was very focused that Prabhupada is there, just we follow him and continue. So now, currently speaking, we have many wonderful disciples of Srila Prabhupada, and our spiritual master is also there. So, and practically we see that everyone has Krishna with them. So how do we have that focus in getting mercy of a pure devotee? Because just focusing on our spiritual master, or we try to get mercy from everyone. So how do I situate myself so that I can get more and more mercy and Krishna?
Yes. We want the mercy of the Vaishnavas. Not just our own spiritual master. And so to get their mercy, we serve them, follow their instructions, please them, and then we can get the wonderful result of the mercy of the pure devotees. As Srila Prabhupada said, the spiritual master is never alone. He's always accompanied by his other disciples. And therefore, one should also serve them as part of the entourage of the spiritual master. And yes, in Srila Prabhupada's explanation of the Vandeham Mangalacharana, he makes the same point, that the spiritual master is accompanied by his disciples, And we don't serve the spiritual master alone, we serve him with his disciples. And I think of something His Holiness Bhakti Churu Swami Maharaj said, that both we and the Ritviks want Srila Prabhupada to be in the center. But we want Srila Prabhupada to be in the center with associates. And the Ritviks want Srila Prabhupada to be in the center without associates. Which I thought was a pretty good summarization of the similarities and differences. Yes?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much for the very wonderful class. Remembering the same incidents about Tamal Krishna Maharaj, about the building of this temple, told you to wake up whole night and to ensure that if you can do that service, then you will please Srila Prabhupada. So oftentimes when I get a kind of a similar instruction, the tendency is there to seek for something alternative, that if I can do this service, same service, if I can make sure that I'll do it, but not at the cost of my own sadhana, as you're also explaining about, we have to take a balance of the sadhana and the seva. So oftentimes when I get such kind of instructions, I would generally prefer to do it in the next day. It may not be so urgent that only that one day is remaining, something of that sort. And especially Maharaj, in your case, Tamal Krishna Maharaj and you, as you were mentioning that both of you were the GBC at that time, it is sort of a, like, both are like a kind of an equal devotee, like, So in that situation, for me it becomes more difficult to remember that if I please him, I will be pleasing my spiritual master. Oftentimes there is a tendency to me that I'll please my spiritual master if I please my seniors. So how did you maintain that consciousness, that even if I please the instructions of my kind of an equal devotee, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, in that sense of staying up whole night, so how did you took up that thing, knowing well enough that I can do it tomorrow also?
I mean, that was a special situation where we had to rebuild the temple urgently. But if you're given some service which will come in the way of your completing your sadhana properly, and if the service can be postponed, if it won't suffer by your doing it later, after you attend to your sadhana, then I would say you should attend to your sadhana. As I quoted, Srila Prabhupada said, first health, second sadhana, third service. Of course, there might be other devotees who want you to do the service sooner rather than later. And in that case, you could, humbly and respectfully explain to them that, you have to finish your rounds. And it seems that the service will not suffer if you do it tomorrow instead of today. And, ask for their blessings for you to do your sadhana. Because, we also want their blessings. Any other questions or comments? Yes?
Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj, for the class. Maharaj, my question was related to pleasing the authority. Maharaj, many times I observed that when my intention is to please the authority while doing the service, because of my lacking in some skills or some attitude or some etiquette, I couldn't please the authority. So at that time, some morose type of feeling comes, or oh, I couldn't please the Vaishnavas, I couldn't please the authority. So Maharaj, how to still continue going on enthusiastically, pleasing the authority, and come out of this morose situation?
You say that you want to please your authorities, but you might lack some skill, and therefore you don't do the service to their satisfaction. And then what is the question?
Till how to improve and means how to go on doing services for their pleasure.
Oh. Well, we have to continue with our service. We have to continue with our effort to please our authorities. And if you find that they're displeased because of some deficiency in your service, you can say that you tried your best. I mean, I assume you tried your best, but that you are not very experienced or expert in that particular type of service, but you really wanted to please them, and you're sorry that the way you executed the service was not to their satisfaction, and you'll try to do better in the future. Oh yeah, we want to please them, we want to pacify them, and they'll be satisfied if you approach them humbly and respectfully in that way.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, thank you for the class. Just one question was there. Then, when we are with the devotees in the devotee circle, means like so many devotees are there with us and we are serving. So even though sometimes things are not working nicely in the terms of the results or the seva which we are doing. So even though when we go in low spirits, but devotees are there with us, so we are able to share with them, and our enthusiasm remains maintained. But sometimes when we are put in an alone situation where we are only there and things are going quite tight, and we are also, means things are not working properly also. So still, how to maintain the same enthusiasm, Maharaj?
Somehow I couldn't hear properly. Did you hear what he said? Yeah.
His question is that at oftentimes whenever we feel low in our enthusiasm, but because of the devotee sangha, we get inspiration to practice. But other times when we are alone, then how do we still maintain that enthusiasm?
Well, enthusiasm is most important, as Srila Rupa Goswami says in the Upadeshamrita, the 6 items required for success in devotional service. The first is enthusiasm, utsaha. And we gain enthusiasm by being with enthusiastic devotees. And as far as being alone, I don't know why the devotee would be alone, but if it certainly could be that he's alone. And at that time, I would recommend he chants very sincere, attentive rounds. And by good japa, he should get enthusiasm for service. Srila Prabhupada said enthusiasm comes from strictly following the regulative principles. And Srila Prabhupada wrote in one purport, of all the regulative principles, the spiritual master's instruction to chant minimum 16 rounds is most essential. So I would say to keep up your enthusiasm when you're alone, you should chant good rounds. Yes?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much for the lecture. Maharaj, I have some practical problem in my life. It's like whenever I go for purchasing, so I have a bias toward Muslim people and Christian people. Like even if I have to purchase a garland or some flowers also, if I found that that person is not Hindu, or like basically he's not he's basically Muslim or like that, or maybe if I went to for purchasing dry fruits or whatever, some fruits or whatever, anything, I feel that these people might be they are eating non-veg at that point of time, or they have touched that particular item, so it might be not pure to offer Lord. So such type of biasness I have in my mind regarding whenever I do some activities or purchasing or whatever dealing with Muslim people. So now this differentiation, is it good, or like what should I do if I want to avoid it? Because this is in mind like from last 19 years. So how should I remove that?
So you're saying when you want to buy something, you prefer to buy from Hindus rather than from Muslims, because you think the Muslims might be, impure and might have contaminated what you buy from them. I mean, all other factors being equal, that's fine. But what if the Muslim is offering the same product at a better rate than the Hindu?
Still I have this bias, Maharaj,
Yeah.
like I will not prefer to take.
I think if you're getting the same item from a Muslim at a better price, you should take it from the Muslim. And wash it very carefully and use it in Krishna service.
Okay, Maharaj, I will take as your instruction and follow it. Thank you.
Oh yes, there's one.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj, there is a verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhaktapad Duli, Bhaktapad Jal, Bhakta Bhukta Avashesha, Teen Mahabal. So this is also literal, like you said, the dust of the lotus feet. It means that we have to follow the instructions. There is a literal meaning also, but there is a meaning that we have to follow the instructions. So this verse also means like what exactly that means.
Yeah, that's true. Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Bhakta Pada Duli, Bhakta Pada Jal, Bhakta Uchista Teen. So that Bhakta Pada Duli, the dust of the lotus feet of the pure devotee, Bhakta Pada Jal, the water that has washed the feet of the pure devotee, and the remnants of foodstuffs eaten by a pure devotee, these three substances are very powerful. So, yeah, if we can get the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee, it's wonderful. When I was massaging Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet in his last days in Vrindavan, I actually felt, literally felt that I was experiencing the dust of his lotus feet. There were some little particles of dust, and somehow in my consciousness they were very magnified. But in this day and age, with shoes and socks, we might not have so much chance to get dust from the lotus feet of the pure devotee, but if we get a chance, yeah, we definitely should try. We need the microphone over here.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj. One question is regarding pleasing the authority. To please Krishna, we have to please our authority and take the dust from their feet in the form of their instruction. My personal question is, Maharaj, when we are in assigned in the service, and there are two authorities we have, and sometimes we are quite confused regarding our decisions, whether what we supposed to take. So we are approaching to our authorities whether I should do that or that. So there are sometimes I have observed that there are some difference of opinion amongst two authorities, and at that time situation is very difficult to comprehend the situation and take the proper decision. And I should many times I have felt that it's might be displeasing to one authority or might be pleasing to that authority. So how to handle that both situations? And many times I have observed there are two various types of instructions, and we have our own desire also at the same time to do the things in right way. To how to handle the two situations in that there are difference of opinion, and how to do the service in right attitude and right purpose.
Well, if two authorities are giving you different instructions, then I would suggest approaching them and saying, you're both my authorities, and I want to serve and please both of you, but you're giving contradictory instructions. So I would request the two of you to discuss with each other, and then tell me what you have concluded, what you want me to do, and I'll be happy to do it. Well, if they tell you to choose what you want, what's the problem? That's the best answer. But on what basis will you decide what you want? Well, if they tell you to choose what you want to do, then just do that, pray to the deities, pray to Srila Prabhupada, pray to the Vaishnavas to guide you what you should do in that situation, and then when you feel you have an answer how to proceed, then you can go ahead.
Announcement, Maharaj. There is a book table with I will build you a temple and other books of His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj. If any of you want to get a copy, you can go ahead and buy a book and Maharaj will sign.
Yes.
Also the prasadam for congregational devotees is on the terrace, not in Vrindavan Hall. Every week Vrindavan Hall, there is other devotees, resident devotees are going to take prasad. You are most welcome to become a resident devotee. Next prasad will be served to you, not today. So, today resident devotees will take prasad in Vrindavan Hall, and congregational devotees after this class, please go to the terrace for prasad. Congregational devotees लोगों के लिए आज का प्रसाद टेरेस में होगा, हेवनान्या टेरेस में, जो वृंदावन हॉल में निवासी भक्त लोग के लिए प्रसाद होगा. Congregational devotee लोग सब टेरेस में जाके प्रसाद लीजिए. Hare Krishna.
All right, thank you very much. So, wish you all the best, and I'll be happy to meet any of you at the book table if you wish. Hare Krishna, Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj ki